Hi guys, my name is Nas and today I want to share my list of the most romantic movies ever. Romantic films can be very different. They can be about love at first sight, love with a happy ending, or love with a tragic one. They can explore toxic relationships, love between two women or two men, or even between a person and AI. Love can happen when you are young or when you're older. It can lead to betrayal or it can be unrequited and break hearts. It can be awkward, gentle love, or passionate, overwhelming love between friends or even rivals. That's why I decided to include 10 different kinds of romantic stories in this list. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone! Enjoy! When people talk about the most romantic film of all time, I'm sure there will be endless debates. Some will immediately say it's Titanic, others might choose Casablanca or The Notebook. But for me, the definition of romance is something quieter, more restrained, and that's exactly why In the Mood for Love feels unmatched. It's not about grand declarations, it's about what remains unspoken. There are so many musicals about love. Films like Moulin Rouge, West Side Story, Les Misérables, Once, Singing in the Rain. But for me, La La Land is the most unforgettable one. I'm still a little sad it didn't win Best Picture at the Oscars, but I'm grateful we got such a beautiful film and such incredible songs to stay with us. From Brokeback Mountain to Call Me By Your Name, queer romance films have changed cinema in such an important way. There are so many unforgettable examples. Carol, Portrait of a Lady on Fire, God's Own Country, Moonlight, Blue is the Warmest Color, Matthias and Maxime. But today I want to highlight a film that feels especially close to me, And Then We Danced. It's a love story, but also a story about identity, dance, and courage. Intimate, local, and beautifully made. Romance can bloom in many different ways, but my favorite kind is when two characters simply talk. Of course, you might think of Richard Linklater's Before trilogy, Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, and Before Midnight. I love all three, and if you haven't seen them, please do. There are also iconic films like Lost in Translation by Sofia Coppola or Annie Hall by Woody Allen. But today, I want to include a lesser-known German film, 303. It's a story about two strangers on a road trip, slowly getting closer through long conversations. Thoughtful, natural, and deeply human. Cartoons can be just as romantic as live action films. I mean, the love story in Shrek is truly unforgettable, isn't it? And of course, there are so many classic animated romances. Your Name, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Princess and the Frog, Tangled. A film I've watched dozens of times. Even darker fairy tale stories like Corpse Bride feel deeply romantic in their own way. From Up on Poppy Hill is exactly that kind of gentle romance. A soft story of young love, memory, and growing up, told with Studio Ghibli's signature tenderness. Old films often carry a special kind of romance. Elegant, bittersweet, timeless. Movies like Roman Holiday, Breakfast at Tiffany's, or All That Heaven Allows remind us that love stories have always been part of cinema's soul. There is something incredibly charming about the way romance was filmed in the past. Slower, softer, more delicate. And if you want to watch some old classic love stories, you might start with Billy Wilder's The Apartment. It's funny and absolutely golden. What romantic trope is more iconic than enemies to lovers? There are so many great films that fit this category. You've got Mail, Something's Gotta Give, Leap Year, What Happens in Vegas, Letters to Juliet. But the perfect example is 10 Things I Hate About You, with incredible casting and an unforgettable performance by Heath Ledger. I think it's still one of the most lovable teen romances ever made. Can we even count how many romantic comedies we got between 2000 and 2010? Films like Bridget Jones' Diary, Love Actually, 13 Going on 30, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Notting Hill, 27 Dresses, Crazy Stupid Love. There are so many. But if I had to choose just one, it would probably be The Proposal. I mean, a strong, independent woman, her sweet and charming assistant, and a trip to Alaska. What more could you want? Here, I want to include films that are not exactly the best examples of healthy relationships. They're not necessarily all toxic, but many of them raise complicated questions about love, control, obsession, or emotional imbalance. Movies like Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, Vicky Cristina Barcelona, The Breakfast Club, The Graduate, or Anora all fit into this category in one way or another. I chose Buffalo 66 because it's one of the most unsettling examples of how love can emerge from loneliness and emotional damage, not as something healthy, but as something desperate and fragile. Period dramas often give romance a special kind of intensity. Love feels different when it unfolds under the rules of another era, shaped by tradition, restraint, and social expectations. Here we could include many classic adaptations of Jane Austen, like Pride and Prejudice or Sense and Sensibility, as well as films such as Gone with the Wind or The Remains of the Day. Period romance doesn't have to be limited to one country or one century. It can come from any time or place. And my personal choice for this category is The Painted Veil. I chose this film because its love story begins with betrayal, distance, and disappointment, but slowly transforms into something deeper, a painful kind of understanding, a relationship rebuilt not through fantasy, but through loss, growth, and quiet redemption. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Happy Valentine's Day!